Hi, this is Melanie from the Pelham Public Library again. Thank you for showing up and participating in one of our craft programs. Today we are going to be making a cute shamrock pin that you can wear or give away to one of your loved ones. I'm going to explain step by step how to do this, and we are going to have fun and make this craft together. Here is a picture of what your finished shamrock pin will look like. In your kit from the library, we are going to provide all the items that you need. A piece of cardstock, some embroidery thread, an embroidery needle, your pin for the back of his shamrock, and 2 different colors of green felt. You're also going to need from home some scissors and a pen. Step 1, we're going to take your cardstock and you're going to draw the shape of an M, generally about an inch. And it's also going to be about an inch wide. I've given you some extra paper in case you're not happy with your M shape. Then we're going to draw a smaller M inside the larger M. And I'll explain why we do that in a little bit. Now this is going to be the pattern for our shamrock leaves. So you're going to cut out the larger M first. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The felt is pretty forgiving. And we're going to be using this as a template on our felt. Now, if you're worried about the template moving around, you can take a small piece of tape and put it on the back of your M. So we're going to start with our darker green felt first. And you're going to grab a marker or pen. Now, I didn't use a piece of tape, and you can see that my pattern does move around a little bit. So you're going to put the pattern at the bottom of your piece of felt, and you're going to trace around your M. If you're using a marker, sometimes it's easier to dot the line around rather than trace. And you're going to do this 3 more times after your first one, leaving a tiny space next to each M. Then from around each of the M shapes on the felt and set them aside. Try to cut as close as possible on the line so that your marker doesn't show. When you make your shamrock, you can always turn the pieces over so your lines don't show if you miss any. Take your original cardstock pattern, and you are now going to cut out the smaller one. We will use this for our lighter green felt to create a contrast for our shamrock. These are our inside leaves. We'll trace onto our felt 4 of these inside leaves. We've given you lots of felt, so at any time if you are not happy with one of your leaves, you can always make another one. So cut out the 4 light green pieces of felt for your inner shamrock leaves. And you can flip them over if you still see some of the marker. Okay, now that all of our leaves are cut, we're going to start creating our shamrock. You're going to take one of your large pieces of green felt and one of your light green pieces of felt, and you're going to put them together. Place the bottoms together, and you're going to pinch them in the middle. Then you are going to take your needle and embroidery thread, thread the needle, and we're going to run a stitch through the bottom while pinching it to hold our leaves together. So it's tying them together. If you find it's not holding, you can always run a second stitch as well through them. So you're going to continue to do this for the next 3 sets of leaves, but it is important that you need to have the shamrock leaves all facing upright in the same direction. Position the leaves so they're bunched and close together. And you can do this by pulling the string at the bottom at both ends. Once you've got them bunched and close together, you're going to turn your shamrock over. So you're going to connect the 2 bottom end leaves together with a quick stitch or 2. I mostly went through the darker green felt rather than the smaller, lighter colored felt underneath, just not to show my stitches on the other side. And you can see that as you put the stitches through, that it will start to pull your leaves together. And you can continue to, before you do the final stitching at the back, you can continue to bunch and move the leaves until you're happy with how they look. You want to keep the shape as symmetrical as possible. So then you are going to knot all your strings at the back together when you're happy with the shape of your shamrock. And then you're going to grab the pin that we've given you, and you're going to position it on the back of your shamrock, checking that you have the shamrock upright the way you'd like it before you position the pin in its final spot. And just like a button, you're going to stitch on the pin to the back of your shamrock. Again, I've mostly sewn through the upper green layers, checking that I'm not showing stitches at the front of the shamrock. Unstitching your pin in place, you're just going to tie a couple of knots to hold it in place. And cut those ends close to the back of the shamrock. And here is the final product. Congratulations, you have now made a shamrock pin.